DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy, family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574 today. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into Bills Weekly here on FingerLakes1.com. Paul Russo, Jim Sinicropi, Kyle Evans here with you in studio once again. Happy to have the crew back in person together this week. Bills Victory Monday certainly has become more than a tradition around here. And this week, dominating fashion in 31-10 over Seattle. Just rolling here at this point for the Bills the past couple of weeks. We'll recap the game here, obviously, in a second. Preview a pretty interesting, all things considered, Week 9 matchup at home against the Dolphins, as the Bills at this point kind of continue to pad this AFC East lead. And unfortunately, all things considered, as I call it, maintain pace in the AFC race, despite Kansas City's best efforts, as I'm calling it at this point, to lose games, not win them. So, Kyle, overall, good win, dominating fashion for the Bills once again, and just continuing what I would call, I kind of said it off air to you, good things to talk about and not have to talk about really anything too bad.
Yeah, 6-2 for the third time in 5 years. Looks kind of like the same old Bills team. I know those 2 losses, weren't great mixed in there, but then they bounced back winning 3 in a row, and the last 2 in dominant fashion. Josh Allen's still playing very well, even though he threw his first interception. James Cook is James Cook. Keon Coleman's finally coming, bursting on the scene. Khalil Shakir, man, he just continues to be such a bright spot. And then the defense, man, you just can't give them enough credit week after week. No matter who they're playing, they find ways with what they have on the field. So it's a great start, and believe it or not, in a month they could probably even have the AFC East locked up.
Yeah,
the way it's going.
Yeah, that's a bit of an understatement, as I said.
It's pretty much locked up right now, wouldn't you think?
It's padded pretty good, right?
They're up by 4 games, so
yeah,
4.5 actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really, really good game. I mean, they went out west against a team that was playing good and needed a win, and just punched them in the mouth. Was Geno Smith crying?
It really looked like
it. Looked like he was crying. The Bills might have made Geno Smith cry.
I'm going to plead the fifth only because I, at one point Saturday, to change the mood because, look, sad Syracuse boy hours over here at that point.
Well, that was Thursday. So
right, but I needed to feel something again, so I watched the old Tavon Austin highlight reel, and Geno Smith was his quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's weird in Seattle. Look, this is Bills Weekly, not Seahawks Select, whatever you want to call it here.
Sleepless in Seattle.
It looked weird, like, for them yesterday. They were fighting with each other on the sidelines in the first half and on the field, I guess, technically. Like, I don't know what the hell was up with them yesterday, but they just
butt kicked right from the start.
They just were not in it at all.
Yeah, I think they'll end up, grabbing a wild card probably. They're a good enough team, but the Bills were clearly better, and that's a good sign for Bills fans. And then, of course, you got to enjoy the Patriots beating the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills are 6-2. The Dolphins are in 2-5, and Jets are 2-6, and it's like not what we thought was going to happen in the division this year.
Yeah, those 3 teams have actually combined for what the Bills have, 6 wins.
Right.
4-6.
The rest of the division.
It's crazy.
It's interesting because at least in the early window games, so this obviously takes care of the Patriots-Jets game, and then the Miami game, I was watching red zone for that. And like, I don't know how I want to classify the Miami loss, but like, it just felt like they should not have been losing or lost that game really, period. And then it just happened.
Yeah, they were
Well,
up
they got
9.
come to Buffalo next week,
Yeah.
and they're staring 2-6 in the face.
Correct. Yeah.
If they don't win in Buffalo, they really don't win against Buffalo, period. So, I mean, it's really a season on the line next week for the Dolphins, and the Bills, if they just do what they've been doing and do what they normally do against Miami, should be 7-2 going to Indianapolis in Week 10. But, I mean, if you're a Bills fan, there's a lot of questions going into this season, and to be 6-2 right now, not only to be 6-2, but to basically have all but clinched the AFC East, in October, it's got to feel pretty good. Where it doesn't feel so great is when you look at the AFC as a whole, because you got the Chiefs at 7-0. Now the Bills will get them in Week 11. And then you got, the Texans at 6-2 tied with the Bills, but the Texans beat the Bills pretty bad. And then you got the Steelers at 5-2, and the Broncos and Ravens at 5-3, but the Ravens also beat the Bills pretty bad. So while they've dominated the AFC East, they haven't shown they're ready to dominate the rest of the AFC East and get to the Super Bowl.
And it's one of those things where, we talked about it a little bit on here, but like, credit to Kansas City, in all honesty, right? They're 7-0, they're winning games. It hasn't been glamorous by any means for a lot of them. I mean, yeah.
Oh, they could have lost to the Raiders so easy.
I was going to say,
yesterday.
to be fair, yesterday included, right? I know it ended up being
Without Devontae Adams even.
Yeah. But like, look at Baltimore yesterday, right? I mean, they lose to Cleveland. Houston by no means ended up with an easy win yesterday either. It's one of those things where the AFC appears to kind of be survive at your own risk type thing. Like, what I'm trying to think of the freaking movie off the top of my head. Not Mad Max, but like kind of like one of those things where it's like last one standing type deal. Like, good luck to everybody else. That's what really intrigues me more or less about this matchup now in a couple weeks with Kansas City, where it's just going to be like, that's, I think, going to be the actual true indicator at this point where the AFC actually stands.
I think Kansas City's going to lose a game between now and then the Bills will have a chance to pull even with them in the AFC if they beat them. Because Kansas City's living on borrowed time. They're not that impressive. Obviously, more injuries than anybody. They got DeAndre Hopkins yesterday. He was pretty much a non-factor. But yeah, it's, and I'll say this too about the Bills. The two bad losses came at Baltimore and Houston. They were the only games where the offense was kind of held in check. They scored 10 points in both those losses. The Bills did, but Shakir got hurt against Baltimore, and he wasn't there for Houston. And in their win over the Jets 23-20 a couple weeks ago, he was not back. He suited up. But last 2 weeks, Shakir's back, and before those losses, I mean, the offense is just humming. Yeah. Shakir is the spoon that stirs the soup, if you ask me, for the Bills.
Why didn't you say the line that I feel like you really wanted to say on that one, given the time of year and what's going on in other sports?
What was that?
The straw that stirs the drink.
The straw that stirs the drink, the spoon that stirs the soup. Anyway, Shakir's stirring things, and that makes a delicious whatever beverage or soup for the Bills.
Yeah, he's caught 36 of the 38 balls this year, 94% catch rate. I mean, that's the best in the NFL. His ankle definitely looks a lot better. I mean, even in the rain yesterday, he was moving well, yards after catch.
100, or what do you have?
I got him at 107.
And a career high in catches with 9.
Yeah.
And then how about just Amari Cooper only had 1 catch for 3 yards, but he opened up the other guys. I mean, look at the tight ends. Both tight ends were involved finally.
Yep.
They combined for 86 yards.
And Coleman broke out.
Yeah, so
I think it's because 100% Shakir is the one that opens things up even more so than Cooper. But it's great. When Allen's scrambling, you can always find Shakir seems to find a spot when you those third and long situations where you can dump it off to him and have a chance to get the first down or at least get it close and then go for it. He's amazing. I think he's the most underrated player in the NFL, honestly.
And notice what happened. We didn't see a lot of Matt Collins on the offensive side.
Right.
And look what happens. I mean, we called for this weeks ago. Just use these guys. Use the tight ends. Sure enough, they did.
Yeah, and great to see Coleman make a couple contested catches and have a good statistical game, and hopefully he'll be on. He is a rookie. He's still green, and we're not quite halfway through the season yet. So hopefully he's ready to live up to his billing, and it's all really, really good. And we haven't even talked about the defense yesterday, which was way better than the offense.
Yeah. Well, I do have what I would call a Kyle Evans stat here. Dating back to last year, this includes last year, Khalil Shakir has been targeted 83 times by Josh Allen. He's brought in 75 of those targets. I mean, Kyle, you talked about it, I think it was actually 2 weeks ago, about that. They got the connection. Something about it.
And Khalil's got the hands.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't who I'm trying to think of that drops a lot. Well, Cooper does have a lot of drops in his career.
Gabe Davis.
Scantling, doesn't Scantling have a big drop rate, even though he's not there anymore?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Shakir is just like automatic.
Yeah.
Gotta love him.
Yeah, I mean, really it's the distribution as a whole yesterday I thought was really, really good. Shakir had the most targets with 10, and then there's Coleman and Kincaid both had 7, but especially in the conditions and everything, a lot of good distribution, as I would call it. I know, Jim, you brought up the defense. We haven't talked about even like James Cook, really, to be fair, either.
Yeah, they averaged 4.8 yards a carry as a team. Cook 6.5 per carry.
Yeah.
I mean, he just powers his way through traffic, and we should talk about the rushing as well. But it's and he's another guy that was missing from the offense, for a little while. So if everybody's staying healthy, boy, you can see what they can do.
Yeah, James Cook already has a career high 8 touchdowns. 2 yesterday, and he's so good at finding the open hole and getting extra yards. Looks like he's going to get stopped, and all of a sudden he's so good at shifting his body and creating lanes. And yeah, I mean, when he's going and the Bills have a good passing game, I mean, how can you stop that offense?
And they could have scored 60 points yesterday, I believe, if they needed to. The second half was, they scaled it back and started running clock, and the game was in hand. And I got Josh Allen as my fantasy football quarterback. I wanted him to toss a couple more in there, but they just weren't going to do it. So they scored 31 points yesterday. They could have scored 50 points.
Could have bowled the Detroit Lions 52.
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
Well, there's a little deception on that one.
Well, yeah, Jared Goff had 85 passing yards. I know.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, I think in that game too, like the Titans actually outgained them by like 120 yards. At least it was that at one point. I don't know if it stayed that way, but that was a special teams delight if you're into that type of game. Anyway, I think, the weather also played into it too. I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but that obviously helps when you can just kind of turn to a running back and have no worries. And
the Seahawks, though, they got Kenneth Walker, I mean, credit to the Bills defense. Yeah. It was really unbelievable yesterday, more so than the offense, I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, really firing on all cylinders on both sides of the ball for the Bills.
Yeah. It's one of those things, and I kind of said it to Kyle off air, before we got going, it's weirdly like, at least for me, like the bullet points when I get the notes that I do, like it feels like there's just like not a ton to exactly like talk about in that sense, because they just like rolled through it. Like it's tough to really go through and like complain. Like I think the only negative yesterday, and Kyle said it outright, and I don't think we really need to circle back to it all too much, is like Josh Allen had his first interception yesterday.
Yeah, I'm glad he did,
like,
though. I was sick of hearing that. I mean, you're going to throw interceptions. You don't want him getting too deep in the season and saying, right. And let him start thinking, I don't want to throw an interception. And everybody's going to throw an interception. It wasn't a bad pass or anything. It's just.
And it looked like Amari Cooper slipped on that. Yeah. It was like a quick slant in. And then it didn't look like he was throwing it very hard either. So
I think it's a relief. Just don't got to hear that anymore.
Yeah, 301 pass attempts without one until that.
Pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing for sure.
Anyway, defensively though, Taron Johnson leading tackler. We've said his name a ton. You have Russell Douglas up there, Balen Spector, Taylor Rapp, DeMar Hamlin up there once again. Greg Rousseau had
So
He was around the
causing
quarterback.
chaos, as I call it, to put it bluntly. It's just one of those things where, again, at this point, might as well just be the usual suspects on the year. But the key takeaway for me again yesterday, though, with the defense for as good as they played, Terrell Bernard actually missed the game because of injury once again. And I don't want to make it sound like the Bills don't need him, but again, they showed the fact that, again, these guys just step up and come out. And like you said, Jim, they were probably the true focal point heroes, whatever you want to call it, the game yesterday.
yeah, anytime you hold an NFL team to 10 points, you're going to win that game. So kudos to the defense for sure. And also shout out to Austin Johnson on an interception.
Yeah, that was incredible. First ever set at any league, even high school, college. And he's been in the league, I don't know if you know this, 9 years.
Oh, wow.
He's bounced around a lot of teams, of course. I think most recently with the Chargers. But, yeah, for him to get that, didn't expect to see that. And also I know we might talk about it a little later, but Von Miller is going to be returning this week.
True.
And remember, he had 3 sacks in the first 4 games. So maybe he will be a big impact when he comes back. We'll have to wait and see.
Hey, speaking of big impacts here, I forgot to mention this. Josh Allen did have 1 tackle yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
After his interception?
Yeah, and then remember what ended up happening. The Seahawks never scored. They had it inside the 5-yard line.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the center threw it over Gino's head.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one? Oh, Gino tripped on his lineman,
Well,
offensive lineman.
Yeah, that's right. In the ball.
this is where Paul Lineman comes in on this one. That's on the lineman, not Geno Smith,
Well, yeah, I know.
because of the pullout. But
Yeah.
anyway, sorry. That was my inner nerd coming out on that one. It's interesting because the team only had 1 sack. Javon Solomon had it, but the pressure was insane yesterday. The fact maybe there was a second negative for yesterday if I found one is the fact that they only had 1 sack. They should have maybe had more.
Yeah, but just 233 total yards. I will say DK Metcalf is obviously missed, for sure. But still, they still have Tyler Lockett who had 1 catch. Get him more involved.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker's great. But
Yeah, and it seemed like they kind of stopped using the run early.
yeah.
Maybe I know they weren't having much success on the first drive or two, but it's Kenneth Walker who's been great this year, and doesn't he? I thought he had 7 touchdowns too. He's been really good this year, and he was just a non-factor.
Not to say they neutralized him. They also neutralized Charbonneau as well.
Yep.
It's great. I'm just looking at the Seattle side of it right now really quick.
When did they score that touchdown? Late, right? Charbonneau
Yeah,
got
8
late.
minutes
Yeah,
ago.
they really.
Yeah.
they were shutting them out basically.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Seattle's box score here really quick. They let Jackson Smith and Nick Jibba have a pretty good day, but outside of that, they just kind of Jordan rules that, where it's we'll let him do whatever because we know it might be their only dynamic guy and shut down everybody else because, frankly, the fall off from Nigba to their next leading receiving leader in A.J. Barner, who is a tight end, is 35 yards.
Yeah, but
pretty
3
big.
of those catches and a lot of those yards came on that drive where they got
Correct.
the touchdown. So Jackson Smith and Jigba wasn't really a factor in the first 3.5 quarters.
Yeah, he did have a couple catches get
Yeah,
brought back.
2, 3.
Yeah.
What's that got to do?
Short too.
Yeah, they were both going to be pretty good chunk plays, right? If I remember right.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, how many total yards did he have?
69,
Yeah.
and I think
And it was that
20-something
last
came on that
drive.
drive. Yeah. So
Either way,
I like Geno Smith. I felt a little bad for him, but it was Buffalo's day, and
yeah.
so much for the 12th man in Seattle, and how tough a game that is. Place to play. It wasn't tough at all for the Bills. So the Bills' 2 losses are both on the road, but again, that was at a time when they were really banged up. No James Cook, no Shakir. And a lot of defensive injuries too, but I can't say enough that Shakir is the one guy the Bills, other than Josh Allen, that the Bills can't afford to not have on the field.
And remember, that Texans game ended up being 23-20. The Bills only gave up 6 points in the second half. If they had any type of offense, they would have won that game. They just couldn't move the ball. They couldn't get anything going. They couldn't finish drives.
Because well, first of all, Cooper wasn't on the team yet, but Shakir, is on the bench, and Cook didn't play that game, right?
Yep. So the one that they really just got hammered on is the Ravens.
And that was Shakir got hurt early.
Yep.
Cook got hurt early in was it when did Cook get hurt and miss the time?
I can't remember if that was that game or the Texans game. Or no, because the Texans.
I think they kind of abandoned the run a little bit too against Baltimore.
Yeah.
But it's also, now that we're on the other side of it, it's no fun, coming off 2 straight losses and being 3-2. But winning the next 3, in a way, it's okay that they lost those games. Teams need to overcome adversity. It's a long season. They need to be forced to try to find solutions to problems. And I just can't. I'm surprised. The Bills are 6-2 right now. I'm surprised. I didn't see it in the beginning of the season. I was wondering if they might be struggling to get into the playoffs this season, and I was wrong. These guys are one of the best teams in football.
And it's Dolphins, Colts, Chiefs, bye. So going to that Chiefs game, I mean, let's be real. You should probably be 8-2.
If they're not really disappointed, I mean, a little bit of a tough asked to go into Indianapolis, but
I don't think so after yesterday anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I probably should save the rest of that for maybe next week when it's actually going into the Indy week. But just the stuff I'm hearing out of Anthony Richardson right now just makes me want to hurl myself through a window.
And then Kansas City comes to Buffalo.
Finally, it seems like it's always that era.
Yep, 4:25 start. This. Which I don't know if they can flex that one or anything yet this time of year, but that would be the game of the week.
I think it's too late to flex it.
Yeah, probably. I don't think they do. Yeah. So anyway,
I think CBS does not want to lose that game. So
true. So yeah, that'll be a great 4:00 game like this one was. I like it, even though it'll be here on the East Coast and home against Buffalo. But that'll be the game of the week. The Bills, barring some type of catastrophe, will be 8-2 heading into it. I think the Chiefs will be 8-1 heading into it. And we'll see where we stand against. I could see the Bills just taking it to them that game. Winning by more than 2 scores, based on what I've seen so far. But that's 3 weeks away. We're getting ahead of each other. But then the Bills will go on a bye week and, come back and begin the drive towards the playoffs and the Super Bowl championship.
So the Chiefs going into that game, I know we don't want to do it too bad here, but they got the Buccaneers on Monday night next week. And then
Potential loss.
a Sunday game at home against the Broncos.
The 5-3
loss.
Broncos.
Yeah. The Broncos,
Number
who I
one-
bet
Number 1 defense now, Broncos, I think. Like something crazy like that.
I bet them to be over 5.5 wins this season in the future, and that's like they just need another half a win.
Just need to get across the finish line
Think they
now.
can win one more game
It's not bad.
for in the last. So that was crazy. I didn't expect it to be this quick either. I didn't expect them to be a good team, like one of the better teams in the AFC, and I still don't think they are. But obviously they're going to win more than 5.5 games since they got 5 already here in October.
Yeah.
Sean Payton's a good coach.
Yeah, he's pretty good at what he does, I'd say.
Yeah.
All things considered.
I love what happened after the game.
Uh-oh.
I know it's another topic. You didn't see it?
I didn't see that.
Panthers are mad and yelling at him because they ran a fake field goal up, 20-7?
Oh, that.
I love it. Keep pouring it on. It's the NFL. Who
Yeah, they're
cares?
professional athletes. This
You're
isn't
getting
high
paid that
school.
much?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Get better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I would have said.
I
if I'm
don't-
Sean.
I don't
better.
disagree, but I see where,
Nah, it's the NFL. That's weak. That's high school stuff.
man,
Oh, let's not try hard. It's the NFL.
Yeah.
I like I said, I didn't disagree with you, but at the same token, that's typically how you end up losing a guy to an injury because somebody just goes rogue and,
Well, it's a fake field goal. I mean,
Yes.
it's the special teams unit. I mean, nobody's going to get hurt.
ugh.
And if it is, it's not that big of a deal. It's
Hey,
special teams.
When I played, I was on special teams, and there were a lot of nut jobs on the special teams, believe me.
Josh Allen could have got hurt running for the tackle yesterday. I mean, it's football.
I don't disagree. I'm not. I'm just, kind of saying, Anyway, let's get into this Dolphins game a little bit here, as best we can, really. This Dolphins team, look, people had them above the Bills going into this year. Things have not clearly gone their way, as we know, with Tua
Injuries,
and other
obviously.
stuff like that.
Shane.
Now they look like, I mean, even with people back, they kind of look like a shell of themselves. I think they're just kind of.
What happened to
stuck in
Jalen
this-
Waddle?
Yeah.
2 years ago, he was one of the top 5 receivers in the league, along with Hill, and now he's just not a factor anymore.
Yeah, this is a really weird. Like I said, it's a weird Dolphins team. Like it feels like they're stuck in neutral. They don't know what to kind of do with themselves to a degree. If there's one takeaway, at least from yesterday, that I saw with them, especially that the Bills probably need a game plan for, it's definitely the running game, which I think goes beyond it saying itself. But H.A.N. looked really good yesterday. He's coming back from concussion stuff as well, actually, but he looked good yesterday. Mostert, we know, is a really good change of pace guy for them. He looked pretty good yesterday. Kind of one of those things where, if you're the Bills, you kind of said it a little bit, Jim, actually, in a way. Maybe at the moment you don't need to worry about as much with Jaden Waddle and maybe the passing game as a whole. And, the focus should be up front. And the Bills have, as we saw yesterday, done really well at stopping the run as it stands right now. It's just one of those things where I look at this game, and I know this isn't the betting podcast by any means, but the line opened at 6 overnight, and it's already moved to 6.5. So people are already kind of viewing this as it should be pushed more to at least being a touchdown game than under that number.
You always got to be nervous about a game in the NFL. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care if you're playing the Panthers or you're playing the Chiefs. You got to come ready to go. But I feel good about this game because of just recent history. When the Bills play Miami, the Bills own them. I think that Miami will score more than the 10 points that Seattle and Tennessee have scored the past couple of weeks. But so I do think it's going to be a little more of a shootout, and we'll give our score predictions later. But I feel really confident. I mean, super confident, more confident about Miami than at Indianapolis next week. So, bring it on. The Dolphins will then fall to 2-6, and the Bills would be 7-2. Yeah. I don't know who the Jets and Patriots play next week, but it's almost time to stop forgetting about this divisional stuff. And just as a sidebar, I don't care if the Jets traded for Patrick Mahomes and brought in Jerry Rice and Lawrence Taylor, whoever. They suck.
Yeah.
They suck. And it's so funny. I got the Patriots +7 yesterday, and it was my favorite bet I've ever won, I think, just because I don't hate the Jets, but it's unbelievable that they're just such a caricature of themselves. Like the poor Jets fans, he doesn't. Look, before the season, we talked about it. Man, the Jets are might win the division, and the Jets this and the Jets that, and they're terrible. They lost to the Patriots, and that was a must-win game for them. If they do win it, they are within reach of the Bills still. They play the Bills once more. They are in reach of the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs at 2-6. Aaron Rodgers should retire after this season, and he might.
He should. Jets have the Texans on Thursday Night Football, and the Patriots have the Titans in Tennessee.
Jets have who again?
They have the Texans on Thursday Night Football, and then the Patriots are at Tennessee Sunday in the early.
I don't care about the Patriots. Breece Hall, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson. I mean, come on. Like, keep bringing them in, and you still suck.
Yeah.
Jets suck.
Yeah.
Fire Robert Saleh. It didn't matter.
I was going to say,
Got worse, maybe.
Who are they going to blame this week? Because they can't blame Saleh. They haven't been able to blame Saleh for 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Their kicker,
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the hell happened to Zerline, but
4
my
points,
God.
4 possible points gone because Greg Zuerlein's still there. I mean, I know there's probably not a lot of options, but I mean,
No, sure there is. Look at who the Packers picked up and who else.
McManus,
The
yeah.
the 49ers, they all went to the free agent wire and got good kickers. The Niners kicker had 5 of them yesterday, didn't he? 5 for 5
Yeah.
against
I
the
mean,
Cowboys.
look, Washington, same way earlier in the year. They picked up Seifert, and he's only missed 1 field goal.
One more sidebar.
Oh, go
How
ahead.
about them Commanders?
Well,
They
yeah.
almost gave the game away, and then they had
They
the Hail Mary.
They did give the game away. That's the issue. They did give the game away, and it didn't matter. Chicago.
Yeah.
Anyway, my gosh. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I view this Miami team like they're just stuck in neutral. Like they aren't going anywhere. Like, what's their direction at this point for the rest of the year? It's crazy to me. I mean, we brought up obviously the games back for the rest of the teams in the AFC East, but like, it's crazy to me that more or less Miami, New England, and the Jets all have the same record, and they all have the same thing, and then there's just Buffalo over here chilling, doing their thing, and not having, in the sense of the other teams, not any worries in the world. Like, it's a glorious thing to be going into these previews, especially in a division game like this, where it's kind of like you said, Jim, right? You can't, not take these games seriously, but like,
I'm sure they'll be taking it seriously.
no, right? That's what I'm saying.
But I would be shocked.
It's like you don't have
shocked
to
if the
worry.
Bills don't win that game.
Yeah.
Just absolutely shocked. It's, like you say, it's already almost a full touchdown favorite.
Yeah.
It's in Buffalo. Buffalo's rolling, Miami's reeling, and there's just too big of an opportunity for the Bills to further solidify themselves at the top of the AFC.
And for the people out there, it doesn't look like it's supposed to be any crazy weather. But the early thing here that they're showing
62
is
degrees and sunny.
60 and clear.
Yep.
Like, it's at one of those things where I just view it as the Bills. I know you guys brought it up like with Seattle. This one might be the one where they empty the tank out if they're in the right spot and just lay into a divisional opponent, not a non-divisional, non-conference opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't view this as much to kind of like really talk about. Like, Tyreek Hill's been non-existent really. Even
He never did good against the Bills anyway.
even yesterday he didn't do all that much, right? Like,
I didn't watch
Unless I
much
missed
of that
something.
game, but
no, you ruined my touchdown parlay
Oh,
for 1,500.
well, first off, Kyle, with that, we need to have a discussion. Why weren't you betting tight ends yesterday on National Tight End Day then?
I did. I had Kelsey in the parlay. Everything hit. 3 of the 4 hit, but Tyreek Hill.
Except
I thought he
Tyreek
was due.
not
2 was
not a
back.
tight end.
I don't want to hear about National Tight Ends Day anymore. I can't stand it. All yesterday, that's all you ever freaking heard. It's not. That shouldn't be a thing. It just shouldn't be a thing. National Tight Ends
Yeah,
Day.
how did all of a sudden all these tight ends just score? Did they like force the ball to all these tight ends?
I don't think they
It
meant
doubled
to.
their total from any week.
National Tight Ends Day.
The only one I think who was forcing it to their tight end might have been Baker in Tampa, but that was just because Mike Evans was out and Chris Godwin was out. So Cade Otton's one of like the only good hands that he had left.
And let's see it happen again this week. I mean, why doesn't it happen every week? A lot of the times, I mean, what was there, 20-something tight end touchdowns?
Yeah, something crazy.
That doesn't happen.
Remember that for next year on National Tight Ends Day.
I mean, hey,
Don't you get your tight end a card?
yeah,
Take them out to
Kincaid
dinner.
had one, and
George Kittle last night had a great game.
David Njoku had one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys who I've never heard of even had some.
Guy from the Lions, I had never heard him before.
Yeah,
Tight end.
there's a lot of people upset that Laporta didn't get the one right away. I know that. So,
Oh, yeah.
hey, what are you gonna do? All right, let's. I suppose we can probably get more into our outright predictions here as it stands right now for this game. I'll go first. I think Buffalo's going to have a field day. Let's see here. The line for over-under opened at 48.5, but it's down to 47.5. It's interesting. But I'm a little bit with you, Jim. I think Dolphins might actually get some points. I just think the Bills are going to be gas pedaling at them, and I'm going to go 41-20. The Bills win. I think they're going to – I think if they have the opportunity, they're going to gas pedal them and just take off.
I'm going to say 37-17.
All right.
I'm going to say 43 to 20.
All right.
Actually, let's go, 20. 43-20.
I like that.
And it was 31-10 in week 2, and Josh Allen did nothing. It was James Cook, 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. I only threw for 139 that game was all because they didn't need him to.
And you're right about Tyreek Hill. He does nothing against the Bills. He had 3 for 24 yards.
Not just this year, but
History.
all time.
Except maybe a little bit with the Chiefs. He had a couple good games. I think of that playoff game when he broke loose. I think it was the overtime game. But, yeah, I mean, overall, these receivers don't do well against the Bills for some reason.
And that first game as well, that was a defensive masterclass in that game as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're all on the same page with it, really. So hopefully that's the same mentality we have coming in next week when we have another Victory Monday.
I'm not a huge fan of the schedulers in the NFL. I mean, we played Miami on the September 12th, and now we're playing them again before the bye.
Yeah.
We're not playing New England until for 2 of the last 3 weeks of the season. I mean, who makes the schedule like this? We played the Jets.
There's been a couple of them this year. Like, not to go back to the Tampa Bay thing, but they played Atlanta yesterday, and they played them 2 weeks ago.
Right? Yeah, it shouldn't happen like that.
I've seen the two of the final 3 weeks thing happen. I know Washington had that last year with Philadelphia, but
which mattered more for Philadelphia, not for
Right.
Washington as much.
right. But
Because
like,
Washington was no
at
good.
the end of the season, it's not like super uncommon, but like mid-season having it like that, it's like just weird. I don't know what the hell is up this year with that. It's a good call by you, Jim.
And also, what's up with Jalen Daniels wearing the hood all the time? It's not even cold out.
Yesterday was the first time I noticed him wearing it.
Oh, I thought he's
Are you
wearing
talking about the balaclava?
Yeah,
Yeah, yesterday was the first time I noticed him wearing it.
it's like wasn't cold out.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of people bundled up on the sideline yesterday in that game.
Must be Southerners.
I mean, Jane Daniels, Arizona State, and LSU.
Yeah, it's true.
But either way, I think that about does it for the podcast, guys. I don't think we pretty much got to everything. So, luckily there was no kicker news, no other really trades. Trade deadline's tomorrow, or is it next Tuesday?
It's got to be next
No,
Tuesday.
I think the Bills are set though.
Right. Yeah, I don't think the Bills will do anything, and unless they go out and get something defensively, but I don't see that happening. So
They should trade Mac Hollins for like a 4th-round pick in like 2 years from now.
Well, the rumors that I've been seeing is Andre Cisco.
my guy, Syracuse.
Oh wow, I would love that. I
Last
love
week,
that guy.
somebody from I think it was the Athletic rumored him to the Bills. So
Now, if he comes in, is he gonna supplant like Hamlin?
yeah,
It'd have to be
say
Hamlin
so.
or Rapp, right?
Yeah.
I would say they stick with Rapp and take Hamlin out.
Yeah, I mean that would be an upgrade. No offense to
Yeah.
Damar Hamlin, but
Yeah, I mean, if there is one spot in that defense, and it's the one that we probably have been more critical of when it's shown up. It has been the secondary for the most part.
the safeties more so than the cornerbacks, right?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't talked a ton. Luckily, in the bad sense, we haven't talked about a ton about Rasul Douglas. So yeah, it probably would be more the safety than cornerback position.
Man, that would be something. All right, you heard it here first, or actually you heard it first in the Athletic. You heard it here second.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to having Cisco back up here, up this way. So that's for sure. Alrighty. Well, apparently now that we got the rumor mill stuff out of the way. Oh,
How about Zaire Franklin?
hey.
Him. You heard that here first
Yeah.
because it doesn't really exist, but maybe. Why not?
Yeah,
I was trying to find the article, but probably not going to find it before we get off here.
that's all right.
But I'll tell you off air for sure.
I mean, I definitely believe you. I mean, like I said, if there was one spot for the Bills to improve outside of wide receiver, it probably is secondary. So
And if there was a team that was looking to maybe have a fire sale, it would be the Jaguars.
yeah, for sure.
And
Alrighty.
Cisco came out and said that
that's right,
they
yeah.
quit, so he's probably not real popular within the organization right now.
Yeah. At least he called it like he saw it with them, though. So
Yeah. No, I love Andre Cisco. I would love it if he came to the Bills. That would be incredible.
Yeah. I wouldn't be opposed. Alrighty. That'll take care of the podcast then for today. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening. You can find Bills Weekly and all of our other podcasts on YouTube, the fingerleaks1.com website, and major podcasting platforms like Spotify and Amazon Music. Back again next Monday, 10 a.m. Let's go, Buffalo.